So I've cleaned this thing up, got the old, the other arm off. I used a cutting tool, just a wheel cutting tool, cut through there. These oblong holes are in good shape on this side. Just painting it, and I'm going to put a little undercoating on it. This other side, you know, there's that crack, but when you look at this, this bolt is so big, the diameter of this bolt is so big, and the way it's designed to work, where it rotates, it's not going to cause any trouble. You're going to be able to rotate it and adjust the alignment and then tighten it down. So I'm going with that. Alright, to make this a little easier to go in, I'm going to take these off. I've marked that side. See, a slightly different shape, so I shouldn't have any problem remembering where to put those. And now I'm just going to go under there and stick that guy up there and stick the bolts in it. Well, here we are back under the vehicle, and I've got these rods back in, these arms back in, and I've tightened them down. I've got the, well, obviously I put the crossbeam in first, tightened it down, put a little grease on those bolts up in there so they don't rust in the sleeve there, and again, a little bit of grease into the ball joint seat there, make it easy to get out in the future. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is on this side over here, I'm going to put that spring back in there, and then I'm going to move the lower control arm into position, and we'll see what happens. Now, the key on the spring is to make sure you're putting it in right. In fact, when I took it out, I labeled it top. This thing goes up in top. Make sure that rubber boot right there, this travel stop, is in place. It's not a boot. It's a big heavy piece of rubber. It's what, if you compress the chassis too far down, the suspension too far down, it impacts on there and keeps it from sagging too much. Alright, so I'm going to put that in. Again, the spring is partially compressed so that it's easy to put in there. I obviously can't push it up with my hands while I'm trying to put this bolt in, so the spring needs to be free. Let's go. So when you're putting in the spring on the lower control arm, there's a groove right there. It's a little higher than the rest of that is to capture the bottom of the spring. Hold on. There's actually the same one in this top bushing here. Okay, so I've got that like that, and the spring is, I'm just checking the travel. It looks like it's accurate. Now I'm gonna see if I can mate it all up. Okay, the spring is installed. My little finger is where it's supposed to be. Everything's tightened down on this side. Control arm's tightened down. Let's back off. One thing to note, I had that. Hold on. Okay, that's better. I had the zip tie holding the suspension in place. Once I got these arms on, I cut that off with that controlled height. So this is good. I'll proceed with the other side. Alright, the springs are in on both sides, and all the components are hooked up. You can see this spring is going to mate up just fine with that little groove there. And now I'm going to put the shock in, and I'm going to put the shock in from the top, because there's 4 bolts on the top, and then align it from the bottom. So that should be a piece of cake. I think that goes the other way around. goes in. Then you'll jack it up a little bit to compress the distance and put the lower bolt on the shock. Then you're just about done. Everything's back on. Sway bar reattached, blah blah. So what I did on both adjusters is I centered them straight down on both, meaning on both sides of the vehicle. There's these adjusters there. So they're centered. I don't know if that's the correct alignment, but it's better than having them set randomly. Recheck all your bolts and put it back together. Put the wheels on. You're done.